A very good afternoon to all of you present here. We at ABP Education are glad to have you present at the webinar, The Data Science Career Path. We would like to thank our webinar partners, Amrita University and Adamas University. Today, we have an esteemed panel here who would be discussing what are the various career options for those students who are wanting to pursue data science as a career option. For this webinar, we have a moderator today, Mr. Anindya Ghosh. Mr. Ghosh is an associate partner, data platform, data science, and AI at IBM Global Business Services. He comes with over 24 years of experience across areas of cognitive sciences, analytics, data platforms, quantitative research, digital and process excellence. He has also co-authored the book Workforce Planning and Analytics in collaboration with IIM Ranchi and NHRD in November 2017. Welcome you, sir, and I would request you to take over the session from here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Swangi, and a very warm welcome, right, to all the participants of today's webinar. So as you understand, data science, right, as a discipline, it's a very widely sought after. It's widely respected, yet it's so misunderstood in today's marketplace. Now you can talk to the stalwarts in the industry, right? You can talk to people who are in the area of data science, people who are not in the area. Everybody has a viewpoint, but you will find that there are very differing viewpoints in this space. So it actually, there are times when we get confused, understanding the various terminologies. What does each of the terms mean? Do I really want to have a career in that space? What are the advantages? So there are multiple such points that, one actually talks about. There are terms that are thrown about, and our endeavor today would be to simplify and demystify this field to the extent possible, using all our practical experience in this area. Now you will see, as we move forward, we have a very eminent and experienced panel who is going to address many of your concerns and questions today. So, let us actually begin with some definitions. Yeah. So let's understand what is data. Now, of course, this has been talked about a lot, in the industry as of today. All events and happenings around us, they're captured through either human or natural language, or any of the five senses. Namely, what are these five senses? This is sight, vision, sound or acoustics, touch, smell, or taste. Now, natural language, basically had been created by humans. When I say natural language, it could be anything. It could be English, could be Hindi, could be Kannada, could be Bengali, could be Chinese, could be French, whatever it is. So these are all natural languages that have been created by human beings. So they have been created by humans to bring some syntax, right, or some grammar, or consistency to how humans, that is we, all of us, we connect. Essentially, what we do is we convert the inputs to our five senses and outputs from the brain into a common syntax to make sense out of them. Thus evolved the discipline of natural language processing, or NLP, right? We do that as we learn languages. In the area of artificial intelligence, we've actually come up with this field of NLP, so that we can process this language and come up with insights, enriched insights, to basically give us ideas as to what are the kind of decisions that we need to take, in our business, in our daily lives. And I'm pretty sure all of you have actually heard about it. Now, processing all of that, right? I mean, the processing of all that we see, it's encapsulated into a discipline which is known as computer vision. So C means our sight, the sense of sight. A discipline known as computer vision, or what we call as image processing. Now, inputs to our hearing organs or acoustics is used in the speech sciences. So you've heard a lot about speech to text or text to speech conversion, right? Analyzing, for example, there's a very specific use case in the industry. Analyzing the sound patterns of engines to detect any defects in the machine. Now, the engine could be anything, could be a machinery, a plant machinery, could be an auto engine, could be an aircraft engine, a rail engine, whatever it is, right? So this is one of the use cases. Another use case, and it's a very, very interesting one, would be, for example, in the case of Alzheimer's. Yeah. So we all know that when Alzheimer's sets in, the speech patterns of patients undergo changes. And if we can understand the change in these speech patterns over time, we can also train AI engines to basically do an early detection or an early warning sign of Alzheimer's. So that is another example in the area of medical science. So as you can see that speech, speech processing can be used, in multiple ways. Computer vision, so let's come to that. I mean, I just talked about computer vision or image processing without talking about any of the use cases. So what are the use cases? I mean, we see them dime a dozen today. We see, basically understanding or reading of our faces, figuring out if the picture that is out there actually, belongs to my face or to somebody's face. We see the use of computer vision in signature detection. For example, right? You detect writing, normal writing versus the way one signs, and try to figure out, is this a signature or is this, a piece of text that somebody's writing. Then many of us are probably unaware that in railway stations and airports nowadays, there are hidden cameras which keep on observing our faces. And then there's an AI algorithm somewhere down there, right, which is actually looking at each of the passengers who are coming into the airport or into a railway station. They're constantly monitoring our facial patterns, the sequence of changes, in the face pattern, to essentially come up with, is this person, does this person have an intention? So they have actually trained the system to say that if the facial pattern, resembles X, Y, Z, then there is a high probability that this person has a certain kind of intention. So computer vision is actually being used a lot in this field. For example, you've seen a lot of these drone cameras that are being used today to, for example, in the area of agriculture, figure out what is the condition of crops. So rather than having a farmer having to go through a huge area of crops, you can have a drone, fly over the crop field and figure out which are the crops that are actually consumed by pests or insects, which are the ones that need to be weeded out. So computer vision actually comes in very handy out there. In fact, there is a lot of surveillance, maritime surveillance, border surveillance, which is done using computer vision. In fact, there's another very specific use case, which is very interesting. During COVID times, when actually COVID, was, during the first wave, I've seen this myself. Many of these smaller firms actually develop these, these AI algorithms, which would actually be fitted right into a machine which would be connected to a camera. The camera would be on a drone, and the drone would be circling over a piece of land to figure out what is the distance between two sets of people, right? Are they maintaining the proper social isolation or social distancing or not? So there are many such use cases, and these are very interesting use cases which actually come up, in this field or as part of this science. Now, similarly, there are inputs from touch, right? When I touch something, the feeling of warmth, cold, whatever it is, using touch sensors, the softness of the touch, the hardness of the touch, they're also captured as data, right? And in fact, if we talk about smell and taste, which are the other two of the remaining five of the five senses, the field of science is actually now progressing fast to capture all of the data, the smell and taste data also, and evolve that into another branch of AI. So all of these disciplines, that are basically a complement to natural intelligence and have parallels of working like the human brain. They actually work like the human brain. It's just that in the human brain, there are algorithms that are written, which are part of our brain circuitry. Here you have some algorithms that are written within in a computer. So the computer actually simulates the human brain, right? So this entire element of deep learning, for example, is goes way into, so deep learning is actually the basis or the the science underlying computer vision, the science underlying some of your acoustic science underlying NLP or natural language processing. So now you can actually start making sense or connecting the dots between these various terms that we actually use in the industry. When we are fine to, for example, lose some of the finer nuances of the data, right? So all of this data is unstructured data, some of them to be semi-structured, but it mostly is unstructured, right? It's through our 5 senses. But when we are fine to lose some of the finer nuances of this data and capture them in a structured format, I mean, essentially as rows or columns, that becomes a structured data, right? And the analytics that we execute using the data, that is what we call as advanced analytics. So there is artificial intelligence, which is run essentially on unstructured data, maybe partly on semi-structured. And then there is this entire field of statistical modeling or advanced analytics, which has been there from a much, much earlier time, right? Much longer time. And advanced analytics, of course, has its benefits, also has its limitations. And now we have moved into the era of AI. And the reason why we have done that, it's not that AI was not there earlier. AI was there even in the 70s and 80s. But AI needs significant processing power, given the total amount of data that AI has to, one has to process. And big data technologies were not there, were not prevalent in the world at that time. It is prevalent now, over the last decade or so, right? And hence, AI technologies have come to the fore, and they are becoming big. Now, for example, the science of capturing all such data through sensors or devices leads us to the field of IoT or Internet of Things, right? So there are multiple such disciplines which keep spawning from this base discipline of data and the analysis or analytics that you want to do, whether it's analytics on unstructured data or analytics on structured data, right? Now, in my experience, as I've kind of worked in IBM, in Wipro, and in many other companies in the area of data science. Data science is basically an all-encompassing science in all of these areas. You cannot segregate data science and say, okay, this is only advanced analytics, this is only AI, this is only IoT, this is only blockchain. No, it's this entire science of data, using data to come up with insights, right? And there are multiple disciplines or fields which go in between. And in many cases, they would be sequential or they could be parallel. In some use case, when you solve use cases in industry, you could actually use both AI and advanced analytics, right? You could then marry that up with blockchain. So these are all technologies that we use, right? But the idea is that we use data to answer business problems, to come up with insights. Now, having laid this ground, my idea was to kind of lay this ground, and now we want to get into some of the specifics. We want to understand some specifics from a career point of view, right? There are a few topics that we have picked up today, myself and all the panelists included, but feel free to ask questions, outside of these topics also. These topics relate to the future and roles that one would be expected to play in the industry in this area, right? So let's start off. Let's start off understanding for a moment the why behind data science. Yeah, for all budding enthusiasts, right? And students and those who are still not decided. There are times in our lives where we are yet to decide. I mean, we know that it's the fad. We at times think that will it stay or will it go away? Is it real? For all of us who either want to pursue a career or who are still trying to, think, we are still thinking whether it's the right area for us. The first topic that we would want to go in today, right, would be the why, the importance of data science, how data can be used for further enriched insights. Now, I took a few use cases, right? Just a few examples. However, there are many such examples which would be of interest to you. And I think as you listen to all of this and how the decision making is done in the business of tomorrow, it would help you start making a decision in the area of data science, or rather a decision in terms of pursuing a career in the area of data science. I will actually call upon my first panelist and speaker today, Sudhir K. Sudhir is quite eminent in his field. He's part of the admissions office. I will not, talk much about Sudhir, but Sudhir, as I hand this over to you, why don't you kind of, give a brief about yourself as you start answering this particular area of the importance of data science. Over to you, Sudhir.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and you have laid the ground, the battleground for us beautifully, and we need to discuss and take this forward now. And today's topic is like how to pursue this data science as a career path, because students at this tender age needs to understand the opportunities. If you're pursuing a career path, means you need to understand after 4 years after your graduation or after 3 years of your graduation, what will be the scope of it, which sector you can enter into. So this is the main problem. Every Indian parent will be thinking, my son or daughter will be getting a good job in this field. Are there plenty of opportunities, job opportunities are there? What kind of innovations might happen? Does any investments happen in this sector? So these kind of questions will be running around in all your minds and all. I don't want to give you more technical details, but I will be giving you a basic idea about why data science is important and how many opportunities are awaiting you. So that is what important when you're making a career decision like this. So data science isn't something new anymore. All of you as of now know that data science is the result of facts, where the insights out of data, we will be getting some insights out of data and have a mathematical approach combined together and to form a proper solution or automatic solution for the existing problem. It's a simple definition of data science, what we call about. And data science will be the future. Students, lot of you are thinking, will it have opportunities and all? Because before, people used to say it is easy to communicate with each other who are miles around with just few clicks. People thought, are you mad or what? How can we communicate with just a few clicks with somebody who is thousands of miles away? Likewise, if somebody is telling about the opportunities of data science, people will be saying it's impossible. No, this kind of opportunities might not be there in data science. That's what people will be thinking in shock or awe, because it has tremendous application, not just limited to one field. Its applications are distributed across various sector. I will be giving you a brief about like some of the sectors and all. In automobile industry, for per suppose, automobile industry saw a major shift in the last few years, because all of you know about this Tesla, like self-driving cars, autopilot flying cars, fixed destination cabs, automatic public transport, and various other applications are coming. These things are possible in the coming future. However, there should be continuous developments required for these things to be advanced to a later stage. So large group of passionate people not just build a code for these things, but data science can bring up lot more things or lot more advancements in this automobile industry when we are shifting into this automotive autopilot cars or self-driving cars, because continuous data to be fed to these cars, it's not possible for them to run on its own. So it needs to store some data. So all this thing, it need to analyze the data when it is driving by itself. It needs to analyze that data. So how is it possible? How much good the processor should be? So likewise, automobile industry is a new powerhouse to the jobs. If in data science, actually, if you clearly see that shift, look at Tesla is investing in India. That means there will be a huge scope of investment in India in electric cars and self-driving cars. So there might be new jobs created. That means new people required in this sector. So you need to understand that opportunities, because people usually think I don't have a lot many opportunities and all, because opportunities don't happen, you create them. That's what that's what you should do actually. In IT sector also, there are a lot more applications. Most people confuse data science with IT and its services, because the fact is data science is purely mathematical capabilities, and it's combined with wonders of software engineering to develop what we call today this machine learning IT sector. So of course these sectors have helped our GDP and all. However, when we talk about IT sector as a whole, data science is becoming the key aspect in this IT sector as we talk, as we are talking. So when we talk whether introducing new challenges, new changes to a website, suppose your friends are developing a website, or your somebody is developing a website, how customers will like it or not, customers won't like it, or what are the changes I need to make to get more views. So how you will be getting that feedback? Through data science only, because it is very important. It will help you identify what will impact these changes, how the change will impact your new innovation. So based on the data, based on how previous website fared when they made these changes, if you have the data, it's easy for you to make that change without any risk. So that kind of innovative things can happen with this data science. And healthcare industry, I don't want to tell you about this healthcare industry and its prominence, because all of you have understood the importance of this healthcare industry. Because of the pandemic we are in, everybody is aware of how to take good care of their health and all, and everybody will invest in health, whatever the amount is, because health is the first priority thing every human being requires these days. And with the availability of this large data sets of patients, so we can build or we can identify diseases at very early stages. So that's what that will be the impact of this data science. And healthcare industry is one of the biggest sectors for providing opportunities for professional who use their medical expertise with data science, and provide immediate help to the suffering patients. Because you need to understand, okay, how this patient have these kind of patients, thousands of patients have were COVID-19 positive, how we have reduced the death rate. So these kind of analysis can happen only through the people like data science people only. So you need to understand that. And one more sector is army and weapons. So every nation built a stronger army, and they are procuring more weapons also. So power isn't something that should be used for making mankind slaves, but it must be used to free mankind from any threats, justifying the fact that data science can help in building various automated solutions, like to identify any attack in early stage, to stop that attack. Like you might have aware of this movies, I think Yuri, the surgical strikes, and also how they are analyzing the data, the flow of the people from here and there. So these kind of data they have procured, then they move their, or they advance their attack. So this kind of data, people don't understand the importance of the data, but they will use this in every way, in every daily life, but they don't understand the importance of it. And one more sector is power and energy sectors, because there will be rapid growth in population, the demand of energy will be increased exponentially in the coming days. So nuclear, that requires nuclear energy to be handled to such a level without exhausting the existing natural resources and all. So data science can help in predicting the effects of nuclear power sources and all. So what is the safest potential we can use this nuclear power sources or something. So it can help build AI bots that can easily handle this power sources and all, because normal human being cannot go near a nuclear power reactor. All of you knows about this Chernobyl and all. So people will be affected by radiations. AI bots can be built to monitor this enormous power sources or nuclear power sources and all. And last but not least is banking and finance sector. Everybody today, lot more graduates these days, even the people I know wants a job in banks and all, because people think bank jobs are one of the secure jobs and all. But today a lot of people are not going to banks. They are doing a lot more transactions online. Okay, when we are doing online transactions, fraud might be increased. I mean, fraudster will have more scope to do this kind of illegal activities. So banking and financial data, so it needs to be secure. Okay, that is very vital. All our data today is in online, because I almost my mail id is online, so I'm saving every photo in my Google drive, or every important document in OneDrive. So all my documents, important documents, important certificates, all my banking passports, everything I'm feeding online. So is it secure? So people with cyber security knowledge, or people who can actually using this data science in banking and finance sector, managing the money effectively, to have invested in right place. People want to predict, in if you say stocks and debentures and all, people want to forecast, predict, so which stock might do good. So with the data, before we just used to put all our hopes on a broker and all. Now I can also sit in front of my computer and see the data, how this market is going. I can predict. So okay, this company is giving this much profits in this season, so I can invest in this stocks in this time, or I can sell it this point of time where that company might not do well. So likewise in e-commerce also, all of you are aware of this Netflix and YouTube. It's continuously recommending me, because today I am fed up with YouTube and Netflix, because they are continuously recommending me the same kind of things. So if I am someone who is looking for new something new, because I don't want to watch that same video or similar type of video again when I go into YouTube. So I want to watch something new, which I don't want to watch again the similar kind of thing. So but YouTube is what it is doing, it's continuously recommending me the same thing. So that data might be that kind of what we said, that kind of innovation need yet to be happening. Because if I am seeking something new, I just need to clear my history again, then I need to log in into YouTube, then it will be showing a good recommendation for me. Now based on my history, it's continuously showing recommendations. Today if I go to Amazon and if I watch some product, automatically when I watch other web pages, that kind of similar products, e-commerce products will be coming in my web page. So that kind of recommendation, that means people can analyze your behavior. Based on that, they can show you similar products which you are interested to buy. So we don't know how we will be capitalizing the data which we are having right now. That's why I'm saying there will be huge potential for data science in the coming days. So is it beginning or the end? A lot of people will be thinking, is it a right step or a wrong step? I can say data science is a correct step to take if you are really interested in getting into a lot more innovation, or if you want more opportunities to explore. So data science is one of the best sector which you can get into, or best career you can get into. So but the thing is, there should be continuous learning in this sector. So you should not think like I have learned something, I have learned this data science and all, I have learned this subject, but do not think I am an expert and all. You need to continuously learn yourself and all. So data science at this current stage has already been at different levels. So even if you search in Google also, you can see all the recommendations and all. So please understand, data science is just not limited to IT. People just confuse it, it's just a software job, or it's just an application of it. So there are a lot more applications to it in telecom sector, in in an automobile industry, and all these things. Please, with this inputs, please make a career decision based on this input. You also do some research. As a student, you need to be curious about the career which you get into, and you have the resources at your fingertips these days. So before, I don't have the resources, I don't have the internet with me to get lot more inputs and all. Now you do research about it with the inputs which you get in this session. Do a proper research on what are the applications, still applications, and on entrepreneurship applications are tremendous in this sector. So do not think about the job sector only. So you can put up your own business if you have become a data scientist and all. So that will be my suggestion to students. And please, if I have missed any, I'll be asking our distinguished moderator to add and conclude or add some more points to this brief intro.
Sure, Sudhir, thanks a lot. I think that was a very comprehensive overview, right? I mean, you talked about multiple areas. You talked about healthcare, army, weapons. You talked about, website usage. I was noting some of these down. The power and energy, financial services, banking and finance, e-commerce. So yeah, I think you covered a wide spectrum, of this. I mean, the idea out here is that there is no domain or no sector in today's day and age which has actually not been touched by data science. A couple of my, I would say, a couple of additions, if I may, just based on my experience of working in this area. One very interesting example is the use of sonar, right? We all understand sonar, where we essentially send sound waves in, right? So, I have been involved in Southeast Asia when, there are some companies which actually try to figure out oil and gas in offshore fields. So one of the ways that, you figure out whether you have hit a part of the ocean bed which is ripe with, gas and oil, or it is not. Whether is it right enough to be, for drilling and the billions of dollars that you want to put in, is basically the use of sonar. The sound waves which you put in, the sound waves which are reflected, out of that, echo out of that. You capture that. You then do, a lot of, waveform analysis, like the Fourier transformations, to figure out exactly how is that particular part of the ocean bed. Should I be investing my my dollars out there or not? Similarly, in exploratory research, right? This is one element of, what we call as discovery research. Another exploratory discovery research in the area of clinical trials, medical science. As you have seen, as part of COVID, right? Because of COVID, many of these pharma giants have actually had to innovate. They had to go back to the drawing board, figure out what are the molecules from which they will actually have to come up with a vaccine, or in some cases also maybe an anti-COVID drug, right? Of course, the purpose of vaccines and drugs are different. Vaccines are for prevention, drugs are for treatment. But essentially, the way to do this is to figure out what are those molecules. Now, again, there are millions and millions of dollars that once these companies spend in this research, and many a times, in fact, 90 to 99% of the times, the research is not successful. What we see as successful is probably 1% or rather one case which we see in the media. We do not hear of the 99 cases which actually fail. So data science out there actually is being used, right, to increase the probability of getting to the right molecule, which will increase the chance of success, or probability of success of the drug or the vaccine that is actually coming out in the market, right? There's another use case which I've also been personally involved in. Some very interesting ones. We did this in Canada, as part of the railways. So you understand that, these railway tracks have got joints, between two tracks. So there are fissures, right? Now, because of the extreme cold in these countries, these fissures tend to crack, and the tracks tend to come off. Now that basically what that means is that there is a significant probability of accidents of trains which are running on these tracks, and especially high-speed trains, right? Where you do not have you cannot really stop the train. So again, computer vision is being used. As part of IBM, we actually did that. We have installed some of the sensors in those joints and real-time tracking using computer vision to figure out, would there be preventive maintenance that would be required for some elements of those tracks. Email classification, another one, and this is a very important one, right? There are so many emails that we all respond to on a daily basis. So we are coming closer to home, right? What I talked about earlier were some exotic use cases. So now let's talk about the daily emails which come in. Wouldn't it be great if AI were to actually tell us, just looking at the body, reading the body of the email and the header of the email, what is this email about? does this have to be taken care of by me right now, or can it wait? And can an automated reply probably get generated and go back to the sender saying that, okay, this has, this will be read, this action will be taken basis a certain set of priority, right? So an email classification engine could actually help archive some emails, post classification, and actually put up some emails as priority emails to the reader or to the probable sender, that these are the emails that one has to look out for. So net, the possibility of use cases are umpteen, right? I mean, I can keep going on, and they will not end. But what actually you heard from Sudhir, is a career counselor at Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. You would have seen a screen. The logo of Amrita was pretty prominent out there. All of the experience that Sudhir talked about comes from about 4 years of experience, primarily in higher education, corporate social responsibility, the NGOs, and the schools in career guidance sessions. So I in fact was noting a few things as Sudhir was speaking. He has been handling or he has been counseling teams and doing training and development. So I really hope that that part of it will be useful. Now we will change a bit of track. We will get to some of the data science courses, right? So let us get into a bit of academia. We always question, what should we study? What is useful? When will I know that my data science education is, again, education, as Sudhir said, is a lifelong, pursuit. It is a continual pursuit. However, there has to be a certain, time, as in your academic pursuits, where you would know that, yes, I have it in me to now become a data scientist. I have it in me to get into the industry. So let's hear from Sudip, right? Sudip is, he's an assistant professor. Now he's in the Department of Mathematics, which is an extremely, important discipline or field or a subject of study. The School of Basic and Applied Sciences, and this is part of the Adamas University, and it's in Calcutta. Yeah. Now, there are some distinctions that Sudip, or rather Dr. Sudip Jana brings to the table, right? He's an awardee of the prestigious Fulbright Nehru Fellowship. This was in 2012 and 13. And he has worked as a Fulbright visiting research fellow at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, USA. So some excellent credentials out there. He's completed a couple of postdoctorates from the Florida State University and MIT. So there's a vast experience, research experience that he brings to the table in ocean data analysis, which is a very interesting field, data-driven ocean modeling, real-time forecasting, onboard sea exercises. Of course, he has got, he has published several research articles in, different reputed international journals and conferences. So that is Dr. Sudip Jana for you. So Sudip, over to you. Let us talk a bit about what are the courses, what do you do in Adamas? How do you see, data science moving forward? Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh, for the nice introduction. So with this introduction, I will add something about myself. And actually, I see myself as a semi-data scientist. Probably this is a new term. Why I said that? Because I do science with data. However, I don't have a data science degree, and I am not in a data science job. So basically, my experience of data science is through my research in oceanography. So where I worked with plenty of data, I do data processing, I do data analysis, then data modeling, then it's a kind of numerical modeling, and which is driven by data, ocean data, and of course visualization and writing a paper. So all these things, it's part of data science job. Okay. However, I don't have good expertise in machine learning or deep learning or artificial intelligence. So those things, which are also part of data science. So that's why I said I am a semi-data scientist. Okay. But now the question is, to be a skilled data scientist, what you need? That's a good question. Because just like me, I became whatever experience I gain, that is not from a science course, data science course, but it took so long, and I did that experience for years from this research, because I did this type of research, so that's why I gained this knowledge. But that is not all about data science. So if you want to be a data scientist, then it's better to pursue a program, data science program. So now the question is, what is this data science? Is it mathematics? Is it statistics? Or is it computer science? So people sometimes get confused with this. And it's probably true, because there is also a controversy that whether this data science is statistics or it's a new field. There is so many people, they talks about they have different opinions. So some people say this is not mathematics, this is not statistics. Some people say yes, this is statistics, there is nothing new. And some people say yes, this is statistics, but this is applied field where we use the statistics, and we also include mathematics and some computer science knowledge as the technological knowledge. So to answer this question, if we just see that what is a data scientist do, the basic things, I'm not going into the details, but if you see that the basic things, data collection, data handling, like the data management, cleaning, those things, then data analysis, data modeling, visualization, presentation, communication, those things a data scientist do. So that means it's not completely mathematics, it's not completely statistics, and it's not completely computer science. So better to say the data science program is based on these three main pillars: mathematics, statistics, and computer science. And sometimes a little bit knowledge of this marketing business, that helps actually. Okay, so the next question, what is the content of a data science program? Because the question is that if you admitted in some data science program, that what you are going to learn. Of course, so any data science program is designed to develop the skill of these three main subjects, that mathematics, statistics, and computer science. So unless you have the skill on these three things, that you cannot be a skilled data scientist. So the mathematics part, linear algebra and calculus are must. These two are very important subjects of mathematics that is used in data science. In addition to that, optimization and also a little bit of data analysis. But otherwise, it's fine. Now, statistics. It's nothing to mention here, because you need to learn so much of mathematics, statistics, and there are so many data statistics courses in any data science program. And students have the students needs to learn statistics very well. And finally, the computer science. The first part, I will say that you need to learn the computer language, the programming languages. The very basic and very important two languages are the R and Python. And in addition, the C, C++, and those things will help. In addition to that, you need to learn data structure, algorithm design, database management, and etc. Now, in addition to these things like math, stat, and computer science, you also learn some blended subjects, something like machine learning, deep learning, big data analysis, artificial intelligence, artificial neural network. So those things, those are not actually they are not completely mathematics, statistics, or computer science. They are kind of, that's why I said the blended subjects. Okay, so now the question is, who can pursue a data science program? Because many students have the same question, and whether I can be a data scientist or whether I can pursue a data science program, what background do I need? So those are very common questions. So let me answer that. Data science program can be, there are two types of data science program, at least according to our university. So you have UG programs, which is kind of BSc program, and you can have master's program, that is PG program, postgraduate. Now for UG program, simply a +2 degree, that is the 12th degree, that is fine. And the knowledge of 12th level mathematics it's fine. Computer skill is not mandatory, but if you have, then that would be beneficial. Now for PG program, that is the master's program, a student need a graduation degree from science, engineering or technology stream. Now, if I go for the program specific kind of BSc in mathematics, BSc in statistics, data science, economics, computer science, then you can think about BCA, then BTech in computer science or electronics, or you can say about IT, information technology. So these students, the students of these backgrounds, they can attend any data science program. So basically, the students need to have the knowledge of mathematics, statistics, and basic of computer science. So what I said, these last three, that is important for PG program, because this is kind of a little bit advanced program. So you need to have the basic knowledge of these three subjects. Then the question is where to study. Because you know that you suppose you want to be a data scientist and you want to pursue some data science program. But then the question comes, where to study? What would be a good institute to do that? Of course, so what I will say, to select the institute, it's not the name. You should go through the curriculum. You should see that what fits better to you. So that will help you to decide that which institute you should select for this study. Like, let me tell you some of the top institutes that offer data science program in India, like IIM Kolkata, then IIM Bangalore, IIT Madras, IIT Hyderabad, then ISI Kolkata, IISc Bangalore, then Indian School of Business Hyderabad, University of Hyderabad. These are some of the good names they offer data science programs. In addition to that, we in Adamas University, we also offer 2 courses on data science. One is UG program, that is 3 years BSc program in statistics and data analytics, and another a postgraduate program, that is 2-year MSc Tech in statistics and data science. Okay, let me tell you about a little bit more about these topics, not these topics, kind of these programs. Here we offer summer's internship, that is must, then final year project, and that is true for both UG and PG. For UG, the final semester, that is 6th semester, they need to do a project, and that is basically the hands-on and kind of the real life problem they solve. And for PG, the whole final year, they do a project. Okay. In addition to that, interdisciplinary minor subject, and that is certified. So this is very interesting, because sometimes suppose one student is studying in mathematics or this data science, but the students found that he or she is interested in some course, but that is not part of that particular curriculum. What to do? But he or she found that that course is offered by some other department. By this facility, they can do that. They can attend this extra course, and that will be certified. So in this way, anybody can enhance their career, their skill. Then interdisciplinary project. Any student from mathematics or computer science, they can do project in another department. So it's not like you have to do the project in your own department. And of course, and the last thing I'll say, our university is very new. I think this is the 6th year of, this is the 6th year, yes. And we have got several like positions, like some accreditations, and we also offer some fellowship to the students, and there's a good campus here. So I invite all the students and their parents to visit our website, and sometimes if they found some time, so they visit the campus. And so I think with this, let me stop it here. And at the end, I would say one thing, the most important part of a student's background, that we always talk about the background, but we miss something. First thing you should understand, or you should ask yourself, do you have the passion? Do you have the passion to explore data? Do you really want to be a data scientist? If the answer is yes, then go forward. Thank you.
Sure. I think I know that was very, very clearly elucidated, Sudip. I think it was very clear as to what are the various subjects. Right? You talked about statistics, mathematics, computer science, programming languages, data structures, algorithms, database management, MLDL. Right. So of course there's a big area. Now I will probably know there are some questions that have come in, and some of these questions are related to this to this topic. So even before I go to Angshuman, I'll probably just help try and answer some of these.
Yes, sure.
So the first question is, I'm interested in data science, but not much colleges has the subject. No, I think you already answered that question in terms of the names of a number of colleges. So I think that part of it we answered that. But the next question, which is coming as a follow-up, is please guide us. What are the future prospects or some job titles after studying data science? Is that something that you would want to answer?
Okay, I think the part of this question already answered by our first speaker, that Sudhir. He already talked about the future of data science. And one thing that probably I think our next speaker, Angshuman, he will talk about the different roles of data science, right, Angshuman? I think you are going to talk about different.
Yes, exactly. So, but here the question was more about, in the future, what could I think the way I read the question is, the roles and skills are all okay, but in future, what can I become, right? So let me kind of, take that question and try to give my spin to it, right? The way I have seen, data science evolve, especially in the industry, is one can, there are multiple ways in which one can grow in the area of data science in corporate life. So one can actually become a consultative seller. So there are many engagements, many opportunities, as we work for third parties, which require consultative selling using data science, as the domain. So that is one path that we can generally take. And in fact, I myself have, for example, taken that path in the industry. There's another path, which is you go up the ranks of delivery, right? You keep on delivering on data science engagements. You kind of, start becoming, let's say, in the area of, you become a delivery manager who is an expertise in the area of data science, right? A third kind of path, and this is something which we have seen in some companies, I've been seeing it. We have this thing called a distinguished engineer, right? You become an eminent person in that area who becomes an advisor to these various, projects, this delivery, right? All of that. So these are three paths that we can kind of, look at. So
I will add here. So basically, if you pursue data science program, then you can go to the academic sector. Like you can be a teacher. Like if you want, there is actually that the faculty in data science or statistics is very less, and there is a very high demand. The statistics faculty has a very high demand, and if you pursue the data science program, that you are master of statistics. And in addition to that, like I am, you have a good opportunity to do research, just like climate science, like this ocean science. Now, if I say that 10 years back or 15 years back, there was very few data, but now the availability of data is very large. So new data are coming. So there is a good scope for data scientists to do this analysis. And of course, there is industry. You can go there.
Sure.
So everywhere there is plenty of scopes that you have for data scientists, the data science.
Perfect. Thank you, Sudip. So I know we are about 5 minutes away from 5 o'clock. We'll probably go a bit over, maybe about 15 minutes over. I mean, if you are all okay with that. This is a very interesting topic. and I do not want to stall some of the discussions that are happening. But we will now move to Dr. Angshuman Ghosh, who's our third panelist and speaker today. So let us hear him out. It's a very pertinent area in the area of what we call as the skills that need to be developed in this area. How can we become more and more valuable? In fact, that is one of the questions also which has come up, right? What skills do I show in my resume? But Dr. Angshuman Ghosh, he's a data science and strategy leader with about 12 plus years of very rich experience in leading. He's gone into technology, media, and retail companies. So this is an extremely interesting industries that he's worked in. Currently, he's the head of data science at Sony Research India, and he has set up a best-in-class data science team for Sony in India. So he has that experience also. So you can ask some questions around that. Now earlier he has had some held some leadership roles in Disney, Target, Grab, Spice, and Wipro. Interestingly, Wipro has been one of my ex-companies that I worked for. He's also a visiting professor at top institutes like the IITs, IIMs, and XLRI, and he's a PhD and MBA topper from XLRI Jamshedpur and a computer engineering graduate, right? Also an official member and contributor of the prestigious Fourth Technology Council, and was awarded the LinkedIn Spotlight 2019 as one of the most inspiring and engaging leaders. So, Angshuman, over to you in the area of skills. What are the kind of skills that we need to develop in this field? Please.
Thank you very much for the warm introduction. I really appreciate that, and thank you to ABP and the organizers for this great event. I'll probably go very quickly because I believe we have very limited time. So I think in terms of, I'll first discuss about the skills, and then I'll probably discuss about some of the roles that are important in the industry as I have seen. In terms of skill, I think the previous speakers have made my job very easy. They have already discussed about some of the skills. So I'll just try to summarize what they have discussed. So I primarily think based on the industry experience, there are three core domains which are extremely important and form the foundation for data science. As the previous speaker told, that mathematics and statistics form the foundation of data science. That's where, even Anindya told about, the importance of mathematics and statistics, right? So that is a foundation, and within mathematics and statistics, as one of you already mentioned, I think linear algebra, calculus, then probability theory, descriptive statistics, and also inferential statistics. These are some of the areas which are very relevant. Of course, there are other areas which also you can learn. Second, other than computer programming and mathematics, other than statistics and mathematics, computer programming forms a very big part of it. Why? Because at one point of time, we had very limited data. Sometimes we know about statistical tests which are run on data point of like 15 data point or 30 data point, right? But nowadays we're talking about big data where we have millions of data points coming, every few minutes or every few hours. And in that context, automating those things requires some form of computer programming. In terms of computer programming, first, you should have some knowledge of getting data from database, doing some processing. For that purpose, even today, I see that SQL is very important. You can learn different flavors of it, but core of it is still SQL. Then other than SQL, when you get into especially predictive modeling, that is where Python and R are very popular. But there are particular industries like banking or pharma, where there are specialized software like SAS is also very popular. And in academics, I think earlier speaker mentioned about research and academics. There I have seen it, even now SPSS, a lot of people are still using SPSS. But if you are looking for an industry job, Python should be your first choice in terms of computer programming language, okay? Third is that other than the mathematics and statistics and computer programming, especially if you are working in an industry, you need to have good business or domain understanding, right? That's why probably Anindya sir mentioned about some of the consultant or delivery manager who can have that expertise or domain knowledge. That is extremely critical. So if you are working in particular industry, like I have worked in technology, retail, and media, so I have some good understanding. That is where, if Sony has a big media business, my domain knowledge of previous knowledge, which I learned during my Disney days, may be very helpful, right? So domain knowledge is also very important, and this is something probably you cannot learn just in a course. Once you work in a particular company, you can gain it. But other than working in a company, you can also do some internship in that particular industry or company to gain that kind of domain knowledge. So these are the 3 most important skills to become a probably good data scientist. But to become good to great, especially in the industry context, you need 2 additional skills, which I call our communication skill is very important, because as a data scientist, you may be working with very different kind of people. There can be research people, there can be engineers, there can be business stakeholders, and you need to explain your thoughts or your models in an easy explainable manner to them, right? You may create a great model, but if you can't explain properly to them, or if they don't appreciate your idea, then it will not probably see the light of the day, right? So your communication skill is very important. And last but not the least, problem solving is also very, very critical. Especially in industry, you are brought as a data scientist, so to solve a business problem or to generate more revenue or reduce the cost. You are not here only to do research, except for some department where you are working in R&D, so you can only focus on research. But most of the other companies will look for your help to solve a problem. That's why problem solving skill is also very important. So these are kind of 5 skills that you should prepare yourself with, be it using some courses or through internship or some contest, hackathon, etc. Now coming to the second question, which is also very important, that what are the roles? Of course, the first and most popular one that everybody talks about is the data scientist role, which probably encompasses all the skills, is very glamorized and highly paid, but also probably a little bit difficult to get into because you need a lot of different skills and competition is also very high. So data scientist is definitely remains the most important and popular role within this overall domain. But other than that, also there are other roles which you can pursue, which are probably also good. So there is a role called data analyst role, where you may not understand so much about the business or complex models, but if business stakeholder wants certain data, you can pull the data, process it, maybe sometimes with Excel or a visualization tool, and give the insights. So that's kind of a data analyst role is there. And there are a lot of data analyst role where every company is hiring. There is another role which is business analyst. So if somebody is pursuing an MBA degree or have some good business knowledge, but not so much advanced on statistics or some of the programming thing, they can take up probably a business analyst role, which is very suitable for MBA grads. There is also another role called BI analyst or business intelligence analyst, who primarily work with different visualization tool, providing insight, building dashboard. So for that role, maybe you can learn 2 additional tools, 2 additional tools like Tableau or Power BI, along with some of the other tools that we have mentioned. And there is another 5th role which is coming up, which is become very important, which is data engineering role. Because data scientists may be focusing more on the model, but they may not be so much expert on the computer programming, SQL, database management. They may have some knowledge. And that is where a data engineer can help you get the data, create the feature table, help also in productionize. So data engineering role is also coming up in a big way. And I would say based on the recent trend, it is becoming as lucrative in terms of salary or number of jobs as data science. And that's going to grow because like we may have similar kind of model, but as the complexity and volume of data grows, we may need more data engineer. And one, similar role to data engineer is also called ML engineer, who focuses more on machine learning side of data engineering work. So these are broadly the roles that we see in the industry. So based on your comfort level and your interest, you can pursue any of these roles. So I'll stop there and I'll hand it over to Anindya sir. Thank you.
This is excellent. This is excellent, Angshuman. This is a very succinct way, in which you have addressed some of these roles. And in fact, as the industry evolves, some of these roles are becoming more and more important. You talked about data engineering, for example, right? Even I've seen that, even a few years back, everybody wanted to be a data scientist. I said, data engineering, probably not for me. But now we are seeing that unless you become a data engineer, it is very difficult to even bring some of these models into a production environment, right? So software. So in fact, why don't I get into some of the questions now? This is some interesting ones. Should I learn software engineering to become a data scientist? So Angshuman, do you want to answer that question?
So software engineering will definitely help. Software engineering also has different components. Out of this, computer programming is one, which is a must, right? So you need to have Python or R at least, right? If you can learn more languages, of course, good. That part is must. Other than that, database knowledge and SQL knowledge is also very critical. So these are the 2 skills I think which are must have. You can't compromise on these 2 skills. Other than that, some of the skills which will be very helpful if you have, like Anindya also mentioned, data structure and algorithm. So if you have good knowledge about that, you can optimize for time complexity, specs complexity, and creating large scale model. So those areas can be good to have, but I won't say that is a must have. Even if you are not an expert of algorithm, that's probably okay, right? But if you have it, definitely better. And other than that, there is one more area of computer science or related to computer science, which I see becoming extremely important in going forward, which probably till now we have not touched upon. So I'll just mention that briefly, which is cloud computing, right? So there was a point of time when we worked with a mainframe server, then we moved to, laptop, desktop, all those things. But nowadays, a lot of our, code and the processing are moving in cloud. So data is stored also in cloud and the processing also happens in cloud. So in terms of cloud technology, current trend is saying that AWS or Amazon Web Services and Azure, Microsoft Azure, these are the two leading players, and there is a third player, Google Cloud, which is GCP. So these are some of the areas which are extremely important. And in terms of 3 skills, if you have to pick within the overall software engineering or computer science domain, there will be, again, I'm repeating, computer programming language, database and SQL, and third is some form of cloud computing.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, there's a question which you have actually directly answered, which is what skills should be listed down on the resume for data science jobs? I think we've already answered that. And there's another question which I'm seeing out here. How does AI/ML, or rather, does AI/ML depend on statistics only? I think we answer that no. There is a combination of statistics, mathematics, computer science, many other fields, right? The question that is also being asked is, how does an engineering student switch career to AI/ML? So it's something that Angshuman, you or Sudip, one of you would want to answer that. So the question is, how does an engineering student switch career to AI/ML?
Maybe I can start and then others can add their points. Yeah. So when he said engineering, one thing is not clear to me is what branch of engineering he's talking about. So that will probably matter to some extent. Of course, since he is saying engineering, I assume that he has a science background and studied physics, mathematics. So have the logical understanding and basic mathematics. So that will definitely help him when he's getting into data science. And some of the areas of mathematics, statistics that we mentioned, he has to learn. Now, if he's a computer science or electronics or information technology student, I assume they have learned programming. So probably they have learned a C, C++, Java, right? So programming may not be very difficult for them, but I would recommend for data science, they should also learn Python or R, because during the day-to-day data science, they will not be probably using a C, C++, they may be using Python in most of the cases. So they should, that also, I think progress should be very gradual. I think some of the areas which they may not have learned and may need to pick up are probably cloud technologies. I'm not sure in engineering if nowadays institutions are teaching cloud, especially practical and hands-on. See, one thing to have a very theoretical bookish knowledge, but in industry you have to go there and get things done, right? And that's a very different mindset versus knowing that okay, there is a cloud where my data will sit, and versus going there and running that program, terabytes of data coming, right? And second area is a domain knowledge. And domain knowledge, as I earlier mentioned also, yes, you can read some book on marketing, finance, or technology sector, media sector, but that will not give you in-depth understanding. And that is where either you choose those companies for your initial work day so that you get to learn on the job, or if that's not possible, do some project, build a portfolio, participate in contest, hackathon, or do some internship. So that's what I would recommend for a smooth, progress or continuation from your engineering towards the data science field. If other panelists want to add something, please go ahead.
No, I think you already covered everything. I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So we just have about 5 minutes. We need to wrap up. So a couple of questions more. I know there is a question which says that will an online data analyst data science courses help me, right? And there is something else that is coming up, a bit related, not exactly, but still we can club the questions. Data science is a new field and it's still in its nascent stage. A major challenge for data science beginners is that the knowledge about data science is scattered. So amidst all this confusion, how can you become a successful data scientist? So we're talking about scattered knowledge. So the question is, can online courses help me? How can I become a successful data scientist? So any one of you want to take these two questions?
Okay, so if you talk about the online courses, of course, yes. The online course, there are plenty of online courses that actually offers this type of programs. In fact, you will see so many courses, and they are pretty much relevant. They're pretty much relevant for this data science course. So I think that would certainly help if you do that properly, and that certainly help. But I am actually at this point I am not sure that for the employability means in the perspective of the employer, how they look at that. That probably you guys can talk about that. I don't have that much knowledge on this. Means the employability, that how the employer look at that. But otherwise, if you talk about the knowledge, these courses are absolutely fine, and you can get good knowledge from these courses.
Correct. And one of the things that I just wanted to add out here is there are many universities offering these courses. By the way, there are the technical courses as well as the MBA courses. A lot of the B schools, like let's say IIM Udaipur, and some of the other IIMs, for example, I'm pretty sure many of the other non-IIM, B schools have also started offering courses in the area of data science. For example, in the area of digital and data science, you will see that apart from the general MBA, there are courses being offered as a digital MBA or a data science MBA, right? So there are a plethora of options which are available. Those combined with the point that you made in terms of online education, right? The Udemy's of the world, or for example, the Coursera's of the world have some great courses. Or for example, not only that, even you can actually go into YouTube and you can find a lot of lectures from Princeton, Harvard, and all, which will actually help you up your level of knowledge. But I think, as Sudip said, getting a degree from one of these, either technical degree or maybe an MBA degree, of course, will help you further, right, in your career. It depends on what kind of role you want to play in the industry. You want to play the role of an architect, a programmer, or a developer, and you want to go that route throughout, right? You definitely want to be in a slightly more technical course. By the way, if you are directly coming in from the engineering institutes, many of these companies, for example, I know in IBM, right, we hired engineers directly from the campuses, and then we kind of train them, on the job training, in all of these, in the programming languages, in the various concepts of deep learning, machine learning, all of that, right? So there are multiple ways to go up the ladder. If you want to get into the area of consultative selling, right, being a consultant, going up that ladder, in my mind, and this is what I'm seeing, some of the MBAs in this specialized area can actually help. Now, the last question, I will address that before we wrap up, is what is the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning? Right? It's a very pertinent question, which actually fools a lot of us, who have been in the industry for a long time. See, artificial intelligence. Let us understand this. Artificial intelligence is basically a replication of natural intelligence. Our brain makes decisions, gets insights in certain ways. There are certain process steps that our brain follows. As you replicate that, into the machine world, there are algorithms and machines which actually replicate the way the human brain thinks, and you try to basically get insights and decisions from there, right? That is the area of artificial intelligence. Of course, I talked about NLP, I talked about computer vision, I talked about speech processing. So there are multiple areas depending on the kind of inputs of data you are getting. But at the end of it, it is mostly your deep learning and machine learning kind of stuff, right? Now, learning. Again, I will not get into the area of deep learning because it's a very, very evolved field. Again, we'll have to spend hours talking about it. But the key thing in any kind of intelligence is there is a certain part of cognition that we apply. That we say, okay, I see a car going on the road, and I say it's a car, and then I apply something called a recognition, right? And the next time I see a red car, I say, okay, I've already seen that. and now I can say that it is a red card. Learning is the process by which I keep on correcting myself, right? So there, I may be giving a signal which is probably incorrect, right? Based on the kind of stimulus which comes into the machine. The process by which I keep on correcting myself, and there are multiple ways to do this, throughout, right? It is not that once we build an AI model or an advanced analytics model, that model stays forever. No, it doesn't. As we get newer and newer data, we keep on retraining, refreshing these models, right? We keep on training over and over so that we make the models more and more accurate. And as the days change, right? I mean, also what happens is what was true today need not be necessarily true tomorrow. So the reality also changes. So I have to keep on training, my machine to the way my brain also, keeps on training itself to learn new things and apply it in the new world. Similarly, a machine has to keep on training itself to keep on refreshing its models. That is the entire, it's a huge area of what we call as machine learning, right? So in one way, machine learning, the way we do the learning kind of flows into artificial intelligence, right? So that is probably the easiest way that that I can explain. And of course, there are multiple techniques which are underlying all of this, which we can of course get into another session, which is dedicated to that. Now, having said that, I think we are already about 18 minutes over time, but I would thank, first of all, the entire audience, which has been excellent. I would thank the eminent panel of speakers. I mean, you have brought on some amazing points, and thanks again to ABP Education for giving us all this opportunity to talk about data science and the future. Back to you.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you ABP Education and all the panelists, and of course our audience. So whatever we are saying and whatever we are here doing, so everything for our students. So if they are benefited, then it's, of course, it's a success, and otherwise it's not. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. As Sudip said, I hope we shared something which is useful to all of you. And I also would like to thank ABP, Anindya, Sudip, Sudhir, all of you for this great discussion. And I wish all the participants all the best for their career. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.